Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the wildest moments in entertainment, and today we have an absolute bombshell that's blowing up all over the internet right now. The headline that has millions of people talking is Reba McEntire storms Jimmy Fallon's show after viral argument, and trust me, the clip is spreading faster than wildfire on a dry prairie. Now, before anybody starts sending hate mail, I went and watched the full Tonight Show episode. I pulled the extended interview from multiple angles, I read every article, every tweet, every TikTok reaction, and I'm here to break down exactly what really happened, because the truth is a whole lot less dramatic than the clickbait makes it sound, but it's still pretty awkward television. So grab your sweet tea, settle in, because this is the full story from start to finish with all the receipts, and by the end you'll know whether Reba actually stormed off in a huff or if the internet just did what the internet does best, which is turn a tiny moment into World War III. Let's roll the tape and break it down second by second so nobody gets left confused. The episode aired last Thursday night, and Reba was there to promote her new Christmas album and her upcoming residency in Las Vegas. She comes out in this stunning red fringe dress. The audience goes absolutely nuts because it's Reba. The band plays fancy as her walk-on music, and for the first 8 minutes everything is pure sugar. Jimmy's doing his usual over-the-top praise, calling her the queen of country. Reba's laughing, telling stories about her ranch in Oklahoma. They do the bit where Jimmy tries to yodel and completely butchers it, classic Tonight Show silliness. Then they sit down on the couch and Jimmy pulls out a photo from 1994 when Reba guest starred on his old show Late Night, back when he had the dark hair and the boy band look. Reba jokes that she doesn't even recognize that baby-faced kid. Everybody laughs, and that's when Jimmy decides to pivot to something he clearly thought was going to be hilarious. He says, "You know, Reba, you've been a judge on The Voice now, you've seen all these new country singers coming up, and some people say the girls today are a little more spicy than in your day." He puts air quotes around spicy and gives that Fallon grin like he just dropped the funniest line of the year. Reba's smile tightens just a little, but she's a pro, so she plays along at first and says, "Well, honey, I think every generation likes to push the envelope a little further, that's how music stays alive." Jimmy, smelling blood in the water for comedy, keeps going and brings up specific names. He mentions how some of the younger artists wear less clothing on stage than she ever did, and he does this exaggerated shocked face like he's clutching pearls. The audience laughs nervously because they can feel the temperature in the room changing. Reba tries to steer it back to the music itself, saying, "It's not about how much skin you show, it's about how much heart you put into the song," and you can tell she's trying to give a classy answer. But then Jimmy, maybe thinking he's still in safe comedy territory, says, "Come on, Reba, you never even showed a belly button back in the day. These girls today are out here in basically lingerie singing about tequila and heartbreak." He laughs really loud at his own joke. The Roots giggle along, and that's the exact moment Reba's face goes completely stone cold. She looks at him for a solid 3 seconds without blinking. The audience oohs a little, and you can literally hear the record scratch in everybody's heads. Reba leans forward, puts her hand on Jimmy's knee in that sweet but deadly southern way, and says, "Jimmy, let me tell you something. I sold out arenas wearing turtlenecks and fringe. I didn't have to take my clothes off to get respect in this business, and I don't think any woman should feel like she does now either." The audience erupts in applause because yes ma'am, preach. Jimmy immediately starts backpedaling, going, "No no no, I totally agree, I was just kidding, you're a legend." But the damage is kind of done. You can see on Reba's face that the playful mood is gone. She gives a tight smile and says, "Some jokes ain't funny when they pit women against each other for clicks." Then she turns to the audience and goes, "You all know I love this man, but sometimes he needs a little Oklahoma upbringing reminder." The crowd loves it. Jimmy is sweating bullets laughing it off, and they cut to commercial. When they come back, Reba is still there. They do the thank you throne bit with the Christmas album. She sings a gorgeous rendition of "Oh Holy Night" that brings the house down, hugs Jimmy, everything looks healed on the surface. She walks off stage waving like the class act she is. So why did the internet explode with Reba storms OFF headlines? Because right after her performance, When Jimmy threw to commercial the final time, Reba gave him a quick hug, said something in his ear that the mic didn't catch, and then instead of staying for the final guest bumper like most musical guests do, she walked straight backstage. That's it. That's the storming off. No yelling, no flipped table, no dramatic door slam. She just didn't linger for the last 30 seconds of the show. But some audience member filmed it on their phone from a side angle, slowed it down, added dramatic music and the caption "The moment Reba had enough," and it went mega viral. Within hours there were reaction videos, think pieces about ageism in country music, memes with Reba's face on the Home Alone Scream poster, the whole circus. People who never even watched the episode were convinced she cussed Jimmy out and stomped away in 6-inch heels. Meanwhile, 2 days later Reba posts an Instagram selfie with Jimmy backstage, both of them laughing, captioned "Love this goofball, even when he acts like one," with a heart emoji. Case closed, right? Not on the internet. Here's the real tea. This whole thing says way more about us than it does about Reba or Jimmy. We are so desperate for conflict that we will take a slightly tense 3-minute exchange, plus a musical guest leaving 5 seconds early, and turn it into a full-blown feud because outrage gets views. Reba handled it with more grace than 99% of people would have. She educated without screaming, she stayed for her performance, she promoted her project, and she left on her own terms. Jimmy apologized on air the next night, said he crossed a line trying to be funny and he's glad Reba checked him because she was right. Everybody grew a little, nobody got cancelled, and country music fans got reminded why we love Reba in the first place. So next time you see a headline that says somebody stormed off or destroyed someone, watch the actual footage before you pick a side. 9 times out of 10 it's just a tiny moment blown up for algorithm profit. Reba didn't storm off, she just refused to play along with a tired joke. And honestly, good for her. Drop your thoughts below. Were you Team Reba, Team Jimmy, or Team Can we all just laugh and move on? Hit that like button if you're glad the queen stood her ground, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.